Get more perspective on the issue, let's cross live to geopolitical strategist and author of the book Seeds of Destruction, The Hidden Agenda of Genetic Manipulation. William Antol joins us live right now. Thank you for being with us. What do you think of the latest bill in Russia's parliament, which equates GM producers who flout the rules with terrorists? Is that a bill that's a bit overrated? Is it a bit over the top?
If you read, at least what I've read on Russian media blogs, the language is punishment for such knowingly introducing GMO crops into Russia illegally should have comparable punishment to that given to terrorists for knowingly doing this and hurting people. And I think the direction of this is anything that stops and puts this genie back in the bottle, called genetic manipulation of plants and organisms, is to the good of the future of mankind. This comment that the speaker made earlier about the 20% harvest increase from GMOs, absolute rubbish, absolute rubbish. There is no long-term harvest yield that's been proven, harvest yield gain that's been proven for GMO crops anywhere in the world because they're not modified to get harvest increases. So this is just soap bubbles that Monsanto, Syngenta, and these GMO giants are putting out to lull the public into thinking this is something good.
And do you think if Russia does go ahead and adopt this bill, could it reduce the number of GM products on the market?
Well, I hope it does. I haven't access to the detailed paragraphs of the legislation, but I think the direction that Prime Minister Medvedev indicated 2-3 months ago in terms of making this U-turn against GMO that was seemed to have the green light after the WTO when I was last in Moscow about a year ago, that was looking like GMO was a coming thing in Russia, which would be a catastrophe. I think the point is Russia has some of the most precious topsoil, non-destroyed topsoil on this planet, and the richness of that topsoil, if it's rigorously controlled to be GMO-free, to be free from chemicals, from Roundup or atrazine, which is Syngenta's favorite poison, and is marketed on the world market as certified organic, Russia has a huge export market in Germany and in Western Europe and the European Union and elsewhere, because there's a tremendous lack of that. So I think anything that Russia does to block GMO, keep in mind, the European Union has not certified for commercial planting any GMO for years. It's so great a popular opposition in the European Union that the Monsanto, despite all the proclivities of the corrupt European Commission in Brussels to go with it, or even some people in the German government, the population is just absolutely adamant they don't want this poison in their food. And
so that's what I wanted to ask you, actually, because in Seeds of Destruction, a lot of people hear this word genetically modified. They kind of know what it means, but how can they protect themselves against these heavyweights?
Well, they can quite easily. First of all, they can do what the states, California tried it. Monsanto spent millions of dollars to block it. I think they'll try again. The state of Washington tried it, and the same thing with Monsanto and companies spending millions of dollars to create false lobbying campaigns. The state of Vermont tried and succeeded in getting labeling of products that contain above, I think, 0.9% of GMO, which is similar to the European Union, so that is labeled on the shelf. So when you buy that box of Kellogg's cornflakes, you make sure to look and see, is this the non-GMO corn in my cornflakes that my child is going to eat? Or is this GMO garbage that Kellogg's would so lovingly like to get rid of? So I think that's one step. The other thing is people have to become informed what we eat. Eat locally, support local farmers. It's not against technology, but organic farming, and I've seen this directly in Germany and elsewhere in Europe. Organic farming, properly done, creates greater harvest yields than industrialized agriculture. The productivity is better, the quality is finer. The animals that are range-fed, grass-fed cows, grass-fed chickens and so forth, they are real cows and chickens, and they're not these synthetic blobs of pseudo-meat that we buy on the supermarket shelves in the big chains in Europe and the United States. So that there is something that Russia has a great positive contribution to make.
Support local produce and know what you're eating. That's what William Endhall, author of Seeds of Destruction, The Hidden Agenda of Genetic Manipulation, is sharing with us here on RT on that story.